Hey now, Adam.
Hey, what's up, Sitch?
So, as you know, since the war between Israel and Gaza has picked up, there's been a lot of weird anti-Semitism that's cropped up all over the place, including on college campuses. All right. A lot of people supporting Hamas, a lot of people saying sus things, a lot of people tearing down hostage photos and posters. And so this obviously came to head very recently when the heads and presidents of various Ivy League schools was brought to Congress to sort of talk about these questions. And obviously there's the viral clip of all the heads of these colleges unable to say whether the advocating for the genocide of Jewish people violates the student code of conduct. Now, this is very important. This is a turning point. Okay, we've talked about this. People always say, Sitch, Adam, have we reached peak wokeness? Okay, meaning, like, are we going away from wokeness? Is wokeness dying? And the answer is yes. And this incident is a major, major turning point in the battle against wokeness. Because at first it was a double whammy. At first there was all the stuff on college campuses and people being like, wow, it's really weird that all these woke kids are like not only super supporting the Palestinians against Israel, but a lot of them seem to be kind of like supporting Hamas, right? Which is pretty bizarre. But then they get that double whammy of the college presidents who are so super woke that they won't even say whether it's against the rules to advocate for like the genocide of the Jewish people, which is very suspect, very bad. And clear evidence of this, clear evidence that we're past peak wokeness and that it's on the decline is right here. We have Fareed Zakaria on CNN. Okay.
He's one of the news network.
Right. One of the biggest voices on CNN is seeing this and he's going to call it out. And he's going to call out wokeness. He's going to call out DEI and say, this stuff is a toxic brew on our college campuses. This is on CNN.
Okay, Sitch. Well, I got to tell you, I don't believe you. You're making things up. This can't be true.
Well, you'll see. And I don't blame you because the flip side of this is very interesting is SNL had a version, they did their opening skit on Saturday, and their opening skit was them running interference, trying to gaslight America about the hearings, making it seem like Stefanik was the bad guy in the hearings, and that the college professors were actually just like high-minded, people that use big words and didn't understand how bad they looked and were innocent people. That's what SNL tried to do.
Stefanik was a Republican, right? So SNL was basically just doing the standard SNL bit. We attack Republicans. Conservatives are crazy people and we're young and hip and whatever Democrats do is fine.
Right. Yes. And and SNL compared to this, it shows a very clear divide of the SNL writers have their heads far up their butts. They're completely subsumed by wokeness. They can't actually perceive reality. And here we have Fareed Zakaria, CNN, big reporter guy, and he sees this and is like, wow.
Right. So he's responding to the SNL clip and saying,
well, no, he's responding to the hearings.
Right.
But he's responding to it the way that like the average person would see it, as opposed to the SNL trying to do like the woke gaslighting spin on it.
Okay. So he's going to hit the CNN audience with the reality stick here. Okay. Yes. And that's your argument that wokeness is on the decline, that we have won the culture war.
Well, listen, we haven't won because it's not dead and buried, but we're winning, okay? When CNN comes out and talks about wokeness and DEI being a problem, that's a good thing.
We're going to go back to liberal free speech norms, right?
I hope so.
Okay, let's see. Let's see what Fareed says.
Here's my take. When one thinks of America's greatest strengths, the kind of assets the world looks at with admiration and envy, America's elite universities would long have been at the top of that list. But the American public has been losing faith in these universities for good reason. 3 university presidents came under fire this week for their vague and indecisive answers when asked whether calling for the genocide of Jews would violate their institution's codes of conduct. But to understand their performance, we have to understand the broad shift that has taken place at elite universities, which have gone from being centers of excellence to institutions pushing political agendas.
Could you
Wow.
believe this was on CNN? Okay.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, they would deny that this was even taking place on college campuses. Now they're just saying, look, they have a political agenda. Look, CNN has a political agenda. When are they going to turn the camera on themselves?
Isn't this beautiful, Adam?
This is beautiful.
This is beautiful. Oh my God, I'm crying.
People sense the transformation. As Paul Tuff has pointed out, the share of young adults who said a college degree was very important fell from 74% in 2013 to just 41% in 2019.
Wow.
In 2018, 61% of those polls said higher education was headed in the wrong direction, and only 38% felt it was on the right track. In 2016, 70% of America's high school graduates were headed for college. Now that number is 62%. This souring on higher education makes America an outlier among all advanced nations. American universities have been neglecting a core focus on excellence in order to pursue a variety of agendas, many of them clustered around diversity and inclusion. It started with the best of intentions. Colleges wanted to make sure young people of all backgrounds had access to higher education and felt comfortable on campus. But those good intentions have morphed into a dogmatic ideology and turned these universities into places where the pervasive goals are political and social engineering, not academic merit.
Wow. This is like giant.
I told you. This is a huge deal. You have a major anchor of CNN feels comfortable, not just to say that, like, mind you, he doesn't just say like, oh, it was really wrong that these presidents couldn't denounce anti-Semitism, right? He's laying it at the feet of wokeness. He's saying this is the decline of colleges all throughout our country. Is woke DEI BS.
Well, and he's calling it just a dogmatic ideology that is kind of taken over. They've given up pursuing truth, and now they're pursuing a political agenda.
This is how the dominoes fall, because there's a lot of people in a lot of places who probably have been feeling this way for a long time. And it's just like, they're just, cowardly or whatever. And they just wait for like one person like to chip at the crack. And as soon as enough people start chipping at the cracks, it's like the dam breaks and it all floods out and everyone starts talking about how horrible it is.
Right. Yes. Let's hope this is this is
a huge crack, okay, forming.
Right.
As the evidence produced for the recent Supreme Court case on affirmative action showed, universities have systematically downplayed merit-based criteria for admissions in favor of racial quotas. Some universities' response to this ruling seems to be that they will go further down this path, eliminating the requirement for any standardized tests like the SAT. That move would allow them to then take students with little reference to objective criteria. Of course, those who would suffer most would be bright students from poor backgrounds who normally use tests like the SAT to demonstrate their qualifications.
And this allows them also to take in dumb students with the right politics.
Right.
So it serves two purposes here.
Yes. And this segment is so amazing because now he's going into like the whole, like they're getting rid of standardized scores. Like they're trying to do, everything based on diversity quotas.
Yeah.
Like he's calling it all out. He's painting the picture.
2 years ago, all this stuff would have been cast as good and working towards diversity and inclusion.
And you're racist if you bring it up.
Yep.
In the humanities, hiring for new academic positions now appears to center on the race and gender of the applicant, as well as the subject matter, which needs to be about marginalized groups. A white man studying the American presidency does not have a prayer of getting tenure at a major history department in America today.
Whoa! They're saying the quiet part out loud here.
I know. Is this amazing?
Look, 2 years ago, if you would have said that on CNN, they would have said, look, you're a white nationalist. Now you got Fareed Zakaria saying it.
It's amazing.
What are you talking about? Is this the great replacement theory that he's talking about here? What's he saying?
Grade inflation in the humanities is rampant. At Yale, the median grade is now an A. New subjects crop up that are really political agendas, not academic fields. You can now major in diversity, equity, and inclusion at some colleges. The ever-growing bureaucracy devoted to diversity, equity, and inclusion naturally recommends that more time and energy be spent on these issues. The most obvious lack of diversity at universities, political diversity, which clearly affects their ability to analyze many issues, is never addressed, showing that these goals are not centrally related to achieving or sustaining or building excellence.
You have CNN saying there's not enough conservatives in his colleges.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Maybe they'll actually hire some conservatives at CNN and turn things around.
Out of this culture of diversity has grown the collection of ideas and practices that we have now all heard of: safe spaces, trigger warnings, microaggressions. As the authors Jonathan Haidt and Greg Lukianoff have discussed, many of these colleges have instituted speech codes that make it a violation of university rules to say things that some groups might find offensive. Universities advise...
Look, you notice that article is from 2015. Look at that.
Yes.
2015.
Listen, better late than never. All right.
Right. So eight years ago.
Right.
It took 8 years to get this article on CNN.
It did.
Yeah, but we've been talking about this for that long. Easily.
I got a Haidt Lukianoff
Yeah.
call out there. Shout out.
Many of these colleges have instituted speech codes that make it a violation of university rules to say things that some groups might find offensive. Universities advise students not to speak, act, even dress in ways that might cause offense to some minority groups. With this culture of virtue signaling growing, the George Floyd protests erupted and many universities latched on and issued statements effectively aligning their institutions with these protests. By my memory, few took such steps even after 9/11 or during the Iraq War. In this context, it is understandable that Jewish groups would wonder, why do safe spaces, microaggressions, and hate speech not apply to us? If universities can take positions against free speech to make some groups feel safe, why not us? Having coddled so many student groups for so long, university administrators found themselves squirming, unable to explain why certain groups, Jews, Asians, don't seem to count in these conversations. Having gone so far down the ideological path, these universities and these presidents could not make the case clearly that at the center of a university is the free expression of ideas, and that while harassment and intimidation would not be tolerated, offensive speech would and should be protected. As CNN's Van Jones has eloquently said, the point of college is to keep you physically safe, but intellectually unsafe, to force you to confront ideas that you vehemently disagree with.
I even got Van Jones in on this. Oh my God.
That's amazing.
This is wild.
This is like the new renaissance of challenging ideas. This is the moment we've been waiting for.
Yes. Now you just got to get Fareed to argue with Brianna Joy Gray about this. But Fareed, I mean, what about,
Yeah. Oh man. Let's take all the NPCs off the air, please. Let's give the airtime to the people who actually want to be challenged and who want to challenge ideas.
Yes.
In good faith.
Yes.
What we saw in the House hearing this week was the inevitable result of decades of the politicization of universities. America's top colleges are no longer seen as bastions of excellence, but partisan outfits, which means they will keep getting buffeted by these political storms as they emerge. They should abandon this long misadventure into politics, retrain their gaze on their core strengths, and rebuild their reputations as centers of research and learning.
Wow.
Amazing. Look at that.
Unsafe. The inevitable result of...
So this critique could definitely be aimed at CNN as well, especially even that outro. I mean,
Maybe it is. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they are doing that because they became, they promoted so much fake news about Trump. CNN was the network that I could tune in for 5 minutes, and I would, in 5 minutes, inevitably, I would hear someone say, Trump praised neo-Nazis. That was a meme that they put out into the world. I think that meme is completely unfair. I don't think it happened. I think it was a smear against Donald Trump, and I think it probably cost him the election, at least cost him a considerable amount of votes. So they are definitely a partisan outfit, and all of the critiques that he's leveling at these Ivy League schools can easily be leveled at the media too. But maybe they're rebranding a bit. Maybe they want to be the most trusted name in news once again. They want to move away from that partisan outlook, and that would be a great thing. I mean, I'm going to withhold judgment. We got an election coming up here, and it's hard for me to say they're not going to just fall down the partisan rabbit hole. So they might be pointing out universities. That's a good thing. Obviously, I'll take it. But you would take it with a grain of salt if you as a journalistic institution are just as partisan. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I'd heard rumblings from various people, or rumors, I should say, that CNN was trying to make some kind of headway to do this, to reestablish itself as like a more unbiased news organization. I haven't really been following CNN to see if that is coming true or not, but this would definitely play into that, or at least be a good sign that something's going in that direction, because this is just crazy. This is why I didn't expect this in a million years, for there to be a major CNN anchor to not just criticize the presidents of these Ivy Leagues, but to just tie it all into wokeness specifically, and to tie it in, as you said, to talk about how this is a political ideology that has gone wild, that is bad and is destroying, the college institutions. And he just he lays it all out so perfectly. This is a big deal. People on the left and the mainstream left are starting to take this seriously.
Yeah, they're destroying an institution that was founded on meritocracy and excellence, and they're just kind of crumpling that up and throwing it in the trash. Yeah, which is a big problem.
I mean, I agree with you. I'm worried because who knows when the election comes and Trump is running again? Who knows? Trump has a way of making everyone's brain melt. So who knows what happens? But I will be cautiously optimistic about wokeness being really, really damaged and going out of style when I see, CNN anchor Fareed Zakaria take a big, big crap all over wokeness and woke colleges.
Yeah, let's see if it does anything. So any final thoughts?
That's it.
Hi, you just listened to a Sitch and Adam recorded video. That's right, we're doing Monday through Friday deep dive recorded videos now. And of course, we're still doing our live streams. Our live streams are on Sunday and Tuesday starting at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And you can super chat us, or you can join the channel. Subscribe to this channel right here to watch the live show or watch more of our awesome deep dive videos.